All right. All right. All right. 3, 2, 1. It's camp
Camp
time!
time!
Yeah, welcome to our podcast. So, us camp codes really wanted to find a way to engage with the community by other means of social media. And so, yeah, podcast was one of the ways we thought would be beneficial for everyone. So, yeah, welcome everyone to our podcast. You have myself, Ethan Domingo.
And I'm Shane Vidal.
And I'm Mariah Peralta.
Yeah, oh my God. And yeah, so will be our this will be our introduction episode. And the title of it is Why We Became Student Leaders. And so I going into this, I really wanted to think like, man, we're camp co's, we're sort of coordinators helping engage a community go through both, well, A, college in general, just college life, but also B, like helping people get through like an entire pandemic as well. And so
Yeah.
I was thinking this introduction episode for all three of us, why don't we just like introduce ourselves as like we've like never met each other in our lives, like introduce each other as though we're just pure strangers, and yeah, like let's just introduce ourselves.
Hello, I'm Shane, and I am a second-year psychology major, pronouns he, him, his. I'm excited to get this podcast started, just so that y'all can have like you can get a sense of like a conversation with what the camp codes are like. We hope this could be like it doesn't really have to be a very serious thing. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Mariah Peralta. I use she, her pronouns. I am a third-year environmental science major and STEM education minor. And kind of like what Shane said, I'm super excited just to get started with this. This has kind of been something that we talked about last year, I guess. Like I want to say last year, when Shane and Ethan were the camp interns. And it's really exciting that like they're camp co's now and we get to actually do this.
No, this is really exciting. So yeah, my name is Ethan Domingo. I'm a second year computer science major, thinking of minoring in statistics. And yeah, I'm also really excited about what we're gonna do with this podcast and finding ways to sort of finding ways to support the community through sort of this platform. I guess we'll start off with this opening question of how did you get involved in Bai Nihon/camp? Anyone want to start?
I think I can start. So like I like background on me, I'm from like the Monterey area. So it's a pretty predominantly white community. I really didn't have any other like Filipino friends or like friends of color, to be honest. So I really like going into college, I was like that I should join a Filipino org. Like I've had cousins who went through their Filipino orgs and found like really good friends and just people that they really rely on. I thought like, okay, like maybe like I can find that there too. Ironically, I wasn't really involved when I first started. Like I really got involved towards the end, like for PCC, and I guess that kind of made me be like, oh, well, I met these people and I really like appreciate and like how they welcomed me so fast. Like I went through some stuff my freshman year, was really close to leaving the school and not continuing my studies at UC Santa Cruz. And I guess like Bai Nihon just appeared to me at the right time. And I guess because of me like going through that situation my freshman year and like ending up alone on campus and like not really having anyone, like Bai Nihon became like my community and the people that I really like love and appreciate. So shout out to Attention for that. They really were the reason why I got involved in Bai Nihon. Yeah, hopefully you guys have like happier stories on how you
No,
got involved.
That's really touching. Like, I honestly feel like, I mean, for any college student sort of going into, um, well, yeah, for any student in general that's transitioning from high school to college, I mean, it's a whole new transition, and I feel like it's very relatable in the sense
Yeah.
that, like, um, it can be like lonely a bit in the beginning,
Yeah.
but no, I'm
Like some things don't work out, and I guess just push through and find like the community and like the people that want to be around you.
yeah, for sure. I'm really
Yeah.
happy you found this community. Like,
I'm happy I found it too.
To add on, right? It's a lot more of like a realistic perspective on like the
Yeah,
college experience
definitely.
too, because it's like we feel like we come here to like explore our interests, explore our identities, but like in
Yeah.
reality, a lot of it is just like you're gonna have to go through a lot of like difficult experiences and instances, and that's what's
Yeah.
like the reality of like what college is actually like. So that's amazing how you kind of
yeah,
thrived from it.
yeah.
Yeah, but I want to hear your guys' stories because I distinctly remember meeting Shane at the Halo Halo mixer.
Well,
Like I distinctly remember meeting Shane because my cousin's like, "Oh, like look out for my friend Shane." And I was looking around, I was like, "Who's Shane Vidal here?"
uh,
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so like for me, like right when I got into like college, I was like, because like of my experiences in high school with my Filipino club, I was like, I want to join like a Filipino org here on campus. I think it's a perfect way to get like like get so familiar with it. And so like Byron, Mariah's cousin, was
Shout
like
out to Byron.
shout out to him because he told me like, yo, my cousin goes to Santa Cruz and is a part of the the core there, and I was like, oh yeah, definitely like connect us. Like I want to like see like it'll make it easier, and he does that. And I met Mariah at the Hollow Hollow Mixer, and I was like,
dang.
oh snap, that's so cool. And then like she kind of introduced me to camp, and I was like, oh, this is pretty sick. So like that's how I got introduced to Bioneon. I just started like being more familiar with it. I went to more like events. Um, like I just was like after that like first experience, I was like, this isn't actually that this isn't that bad. Like I should just like keep going, And I was like
Yeah.
I was actually feel like that sense of community, and I was like, I'm gonna keep going with this, right? And then that's kind of what led me into camp because I wanted to be more involved with it because I really enjoyed the people, I enjoyed the values we stood for, and so I like the camp app came or the camp intern application came, and um you know, I didn't expect much of it, but I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to be part of like the org. And I applied
Yeah.
and they interviewed me and I was kind of nervous, but like I'm kind of glad that it all worked out in the end. And one thing led to another, and here I am as Campco.
Yeah. That's why we have the intern applications for that very reason to like inspire
Yeah.
folks to like come out of their comfort zone and like apply and like hopefully join and then like maybe become future leaders. So y'all like kind of fulfilled that.
Speaking of intern applications, y'all should definitely apply to be an intern. So maybe you can join us on this podcast and really
Oh my god,
add
yeah.
on to this
That'd
energy.
be so amazing.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to have you on here and sort of just talk about everything about camp and just college in general. So yeah.
I agree. But before we move on though, Ethan, how did you get involved in Buy Neon and
Oh my
camp?
gosh. So I feel like I sort of had an untraditional route compared to both of y'all, I feel, because I feel like my experience with both Bai Nihon, well, primarily Bai Nihon at first, and then camp, started with myself in like high school, spring break. Yeah, spring break. So I came up here through a retention program called A Step Forward, which is
Woo! Shout out to ASM. Yeah.
and it is a program that is catered to the Filipino communities that are in high school, that are sort of still considering whether to go to college or not. And so I remember going on this program. My friend Anthony convinced me to go. He never went up with me though. Left me by myself. But I remember just going up on this program and I thought like, wow, there like Filipino student leaders on this campus. And so, shout out to Ate Camille, Kuya Rob, and Kuya Miles if y'all are listening. Because like they were like sort of the first people that really inspired me to, think about taking a student leadership position. And so, because they were doing like amazing things, organizing this entire event for us people that were going up there. So yeah, and I thought it was really cool. So after that whole event, once fall quarter started, I decided to join Bai Nihon, and I remember the first time I sort of experienced like, what the Bai Nihon community was like through our fall reception, and so
Oh my god.
Yes.
what was I gonna say? So fall reception, right? So initially, I didn't really understand what Bai Nihon fully was because I was only really exposed to ASF. And
It's complex.
yeah, it's very
It's complex.
yes, it was very complex. Like I walked into the Porter dining hall very surprised because there were just multiple booths everywhere, and I was like,
Mhm.
what is this? Like
Same here.
Is
Same
this like
here.
a festival or something? Like and I found out these different booths actually contain like different coordinators that were holding different aspects. And each aspect sort of made up all of Bai Nihon. And so each aspect, whether it pertains to sort of a different
Purpose or like yeah, I would say purpose, right?
purpose and sort of like aspect of really Filipino culture in general. Whether it be like you have your traditional ballroom dancing group, or you have what else?
You have Haluan, which is a mix of like with hip hop and just that type of dance.
And then you have ASF. Well, like we mentioned, is the retention group that caters to high school students that are still in, or Filipino students that are still in high school. And then you had KAMP, the Kuya Ate Mentorship Program, which at first I didn't really. Okay, when I first heard about KAMP, I didn't have the full idea of what it was, and so I remember my Ate, shout out to Ate Laura, best Ate, just saying. She sent me the KAMP application, and I was really confused because like I was kind of like going through it like, oh wow, it's just a bunch of questions asking like a bunch of things about myself. This is a long application, and so yeah, I filled out the application, um, got registered into KAMP with 160 other students on campus, and yeah, that's where it just all began. I just fell in love with the program. Um, Fell in love with the events. I also signed up to become an intern with my boy Shane Vidal, and yeah, now here we are, just as camp goes. So yeah, that's sort of my story.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like the camp families were definitely a huge part for me because, like, if I didn't have because Bio Neon is such a big org, so like having like this
Yeah.
smaller community to just like lean on and like kind of rely on for like, oh, I don't know, like people to go with towards events. Like it was really nice to have that, and it made me feel more connected with the community, and it also was like
Yeah.
a jumping point for me personally to really kind of, I guess, spread my roots and kind of connect and network with other people and like see like the overall like Bio Nihon experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what I really like about like buying like camp is like how small the communities are, like what Shane was saying. And that really like helps you gain these sort of connections. So like for me, I never really got exposed to like the other binding hand aspects. I didn't go to my fall reception freshman year. I don't know why, but I was just like, okay, camp's it. And then I didn't really know that there was more to it until like I got my ate. If we're giving out shout outs, then shout out to Chantal. Love you, love you. But like what Shane was saying, how there's the smaller communities, and that's really where you can form a lot of these connections and kind of like get your foot in the door with the rest of the Bainihan aspects. Like I definitely think because my ate, I was able to like be a part of another aspect and then eventually find like my friends in Bainihan So shout out to my ate, Chantel, love you. She was the PDT coordinator, and she just hit me up and was like, hey, like we have an empty spot for this dance. It's really easy. Like, can you please like come out and like join? I was like, okay, like I'm not doing anything. And the rest is history. Met with Tension, became a camp coordinator, and then now I'm the camp CYP. But like, you never really have like, you never go into college where you're like, I want to be in charge of like a college club, right? Like, did any of you think like that when you were coming into college?
No.
No.
To be honest, no.
Yeah, no.
Because it's like, it's not like a position that, it's not like a experience or like a position you can really prepare for. Like, honestly, like there's like, I didn't graduate and like over the summer be like, I want to be in charge of my campus's Filipino organization. Like that never really occurred to me. And like, I think my freshman year, I very much like looked up to the coordinators, like who were, most of them were seniors, like my year, like I really looked up to them. And I guess like, that's where I was like, maybe this is something that I can do, you know, like, I don't know. I don't know how it is for y'all.
Oh no, like I guess yeah, for me a huge influence was like all of my peers and everyone like around me who kind of influenced me to become a coordinator. Like for example, Jason, my kuya, shout out to him.
Oh my god,
we
just
got-
shout out to
he encouraged me to like go like to kind of run for like Campco, right? And I was like, I don't know, man, I don't know if I want to do it. And he's just like, oh, you should do it. And then I had more support from like everyone else. Ethan, Mariah, you all kind of like were encouraging me. You're like, you do it, run for it. And I was like, I was so hesitant at first, but then I was like, I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, like, let's see what happens. And like, it's just definitely like the social support that you get from these people is what really kind of like it's that kind of peer pressure that you want for yourself, where it pushes you to like grow and like pursue like opportunities that you never really think like would be right for you, but like once you get it, it's like, dang, this is right for me.
No.
So like I don't know about you, Ethan, like what that was like, that was what it was like for me.
Yeah, like no, I feel like I'm totally on the like same boat as you guys, because I think what sort of makes everything unique about this, it's like finding self-motivation through an extrinsic means, if that makes sense. Like, finding,
Dang.
that sounds kind of deep.
Continue, keep going.
It's it's like finding a means to sort of push forward through like, outer motivations. We've had, sort of different peers, like you said, Shane and Mariah, different peers and different close friends have really inspired us to really take on these positions and sort of give back to what they have given to us. And so, yeah, I feel like I've gone through the same sort of situation too.
Yeah.
Like I probably have a really awesome line. Shout out to Campfire line. Oh my god. And so I don't know. It's like the chemistry I think we have together. It's something that I want to help other sort of students coming into this program find for themselves as well. And that's
exactly.
that's what I found amazing about camp. And so like that really is just finding like self-motivations through an extrinsic means.
Yeah.
And so sort of leaning.
Ethan, I wanna add on to that just for a quick second. Like when you talk about extrinsic motivation, like there was also like, I don't know about you if this helped you or anyone else, but like for me, like the way like biennial elections worked last year was that like you would get nominated, right?
Yeah.
And like people would write like a message as to why they want to
Yeah.
nominate you, right? And then like then that's how you would get the opportunity to like be able to go up for like be a part of like the actual official biennial elections. And then like for me, I got like this email from Biennial about like not who, but like that I got nominated and like the reasons why I got nominated, right? So I had like
you don't really
Yeah.
expect it.
I was like, this is so like, these are such kind words. And I was like, I never thought like this is like people thought of like about this of me. And I was actually that's like the thing that pushed me off. Like I was like, okay, I'm doing this for sure. Like it was just those kind messages was just like, wow, it's such a wonderful like positive community. And I was like, dang, I don't know, like I'm like you got it right. Like
Yeah, I got mine too. Like I
I
remember
think they had it my year too. Yeah.
yeah, I remember reading those messages too. And so I remember they weren't just like, oh, like you should do it because like you're awesome. Like they actually said like genuine things that sort of boosted your like self-confidence as a person. Like, oh, I feel like you have like sort of the qualities of a good leader and blah blah blah, and they've done all of this for the community. And it sort of helps you recognize like what you've done like initially before becoming a student leader as well, what other good things you've done as well. So I totally agree, like
Yeah.
it's total self-confidence booster.
Yeah. Sometimes like the actions that you do as like just a general member like can have an impact on like another general member, and you don't really realize it until like you read those types of like the like nomination things, or until someone comes up to you and saying like, hey, like that thing you did for me, that like random Tuesday winter quarter, like really, I really appreciated it, and I really appreciate you. Like there's like I've encountered a lot of those moments like when I was first in the community, and like hopefully I'm like supporting folks that they feel like that way
Yeah.
now, and also like last year when I was a camp coordinator too. I don't know, I just feel like those moments are very like I guess like best way to describe is like lollipop moments. Like I've had a lot in Viney Hun in camp. I feel like y'all have too. And I guess those moments are just like the ones that you really like cherish and like find like motivation in, like especially if you are like a student leader, or just like for me, like I found a lot of motivation as a general member through those lollipop moments when I was like feeling like my most like alone, like by myself, like winter quarter, just having a horrible time. Like I just like there's people in the Binding Hunt community that would be like, "Hi, Mariah," or like always checking on me, and I guess it just made that lasting impact now.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with that because like especially now when everything's online and it's like you don't really get those person to person interactions. I still
Yeah.
think about like that, like those nominations, and I'm just like that still like continues to motivate me,
Yeah.
especially because like being a coordinator now, it's a lot. There's so many more challenges that you didn't really expect to face, and a lot of these challenges you either like sometimes you kind of you kind of you pass them, right? You do so well on them, and then sometimes some of them like they just knock you down so hard to the ground. And
Yeah.
so like I think, it's really difficult now to have those kinds of like moments because, of how everything is online and just COVID just keeping us in our rooms or wherever we are right now. And so like I don't know, like it's hard to keep up motivation. But like as for you guys, like how have you guys been finding like motivate? Have y'all been finding motivation within like as a coordinator to help you kind of further continue your position?
I, I don't know.
Okay.
Either
Yeah,
do you want to go first?
I
Go
guess
first.
okay, I can go. Okay. So when it comes to like sort of motivation, because I feel like when it comes to motivation, um, as like sort of really in life in general, I feel like there's a certain point where it's sort of self motivation, but
Yeah.
that expires and expends, and sometimes like you don't have that sort of self motivation anymore,
Mhm.
and eventually that leads to like burnout, and it sucks too. Like I think all three of us have probably experienced like you said, Mariah, like burnout just it's terrible.
It's
And
a real thing.
yeah,
It's
it is a
definitely a
real
real
thing.
thing.
It's a real thing, and it's a terrible thing, and I like it happens to I think everyone. And so I think I think there are two parts to sort of my personal way of tackling with like burnout, and that's one, sort of being patient with myself and understanding like okay, it's okay to sort of feel this way and to sort of be expired by all this work that we have to do, because
Yeah.
again, as much as we love being camp codes, there is a lot of work behind it too.
Yeah.
Unbelievable amount of work.
Yeah.
You
And
don't realize it until you become a Camco, right?
yes. Yes. And so yeah, just honestly recognizing that it's okay to like sort of feel burnt out at times, and you know um but the second part is also just finding that motivation maybe somewhere else, and sort of finding that deeper purpose that you have to sort of continue on, to understand why you became a student later, to understand why you're doing the things that you're doing to sort of support the community. And so, like, for myself, whenever I feel like I am, burnt out, I can't really do much more and I don't want to do anything else, like, I can't do it anymore. I think about sort of who I'm doing it for. And I think about like the community members, so all the close friends I've made through Bainihan, through even my family as well, thinking about like I'm going through college for them as well. It's so I can sort of support family members in the future. And so yeah, just sort of finding that deeper motivation within yourselves to push yourself forwards. So yeah, that's sort of how I find my motivation.
Yeah. I think like I really like, Ethan, like how you had like a motivation as for your academics, because like this is the reason why we came to college, right? Like motivation in that aspect, and then motivation as a coordinator, because like though they're very two different like topics and like things that can help motivate us. Like for me, I think on the camp coordinator side of things, like the thing that really motivates me is just the thought of like there is like a student who was going through the same, like might be going through the same exact things that I was my freshman year, and just doesn't have any place to turn to. And I guess like my motivation is just to make sure to create a community that's open and like accessible, and that this person can find us and like hopefully like start to feel like a little bit better in their life. I think that also like plays hand in hand of like, I guess my other motivation is probably like the friends that I made in Bainihan. So if you've been hearing me say Watention in this podcast, that's the group name of my friends and I that we created our freshman year. And I guess like that's like another big motivation as well. Like I want people to find their version of Watention in Bainihan. Like that's kind of corny, but like I don't know, that's just like how I'm feeling, and I'm really like grateful for it. It's like hard to describe because you never really get to like, I don't know, you never really get the opportunity to like reflect this much because like of how fast paced things are and how we're always on the go. But like, yeah, I guess that's like the camp side of things. But in terms of academics, like definitely family. Like my parents gave up a lot for me to be in this position that I am. So most definitely like having to like, sometimes I feel pressure from it, but that's a different thing. But like I just feel like that's what pushes me to like make sure like I study and like I get like good results and like have my hard work pay off. And I don't know, they've done a lot for me. Like both communities, like my family and Bainihan, have done a lot for me, and essentially it's like giving back to that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I like how like for y'all, like it's like something like that's you're kind of like you're doing it for like, I guess, of, I don't know how to say it, but for a cause beyond yourselves. You're not doing it just because
Yeah.
like, oh, this is gonna look so good on my resume. Oh my god, I have something under my belt. It's more so like just doing it for the people who've uplifted you and supported you, and also realizing that it's like there's so much like meaning and effect that our actions as coordinators have on the overall community, because we're not just like in charge at camp, or like we're not just coordinators of camp, or like coordinators of Bayanihan and like the overall Philam community at Santa Cruz. And like just knowing that we'll be able to like support them is such a powerful thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, it's a lot because if you think about it, like who else is there to like support our community than like ourselves? Like, I most definitely like there's not a lot of programming that's like based upon like our needs and like the issues that we've been going through. So it's really up to us to be able to like understand our community and like be able to like address these issues and like support them. Like I guess that's really why like the CYP position has been something that I've wanted to do, and just working closely with like that cause and being able to like understand our communities a little bit more and like bring that back to like the whole of like Bainihan core, so that we as a collective can work to like the same goal of like, let's support our community, because we're really all we have at the moment. And like, I don't know, it's just like definitely this podcast has made me reflect a lot like about like why, like how I got to this part, like to this role, and like the people that I've encountered that supported me, and like the people that I might encounter in the future. Like I don't know, I'm getting like, I'm getting kind of sentimental now, I guess.
No, it's totally valid.
Like if I'm being honest, like it's crazy. Like I remember vividly like moments of each of you like that I've encountered as my time as like the camp co last year, and like like Shane, like me meeting Shane at the Hello Hello Mixer, me meeting Ethan because he was doing this really weird box trick in the middle of a Jollibee, and then like seeing y'all like come in as our interns, like interview and like read your applications and like have your interview to like y'all being our interns to me, like working with you guys like a lot more closely. Like it's kind of weird to like think about. Like I don't know. And like I'm not almost done with college, I guess. Like I still have like a year, but like it's still like very like whoa, like that's crazy. That's the best way to describe it.
It's crazy. Like I don't know, like I feel like it's been like a journey. Like we started off with like and then like now as like time goes on and that we like experience more with each other and all that, it's like dang, like I can't believe that like we've actually been through like all this together. And like I also want to add on for like just like a general like rule of thumb for anyone, take breaks often.
Yes,
Breaks
yes,
often.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, please.
Like like as students, we're like not even just like as codes, but like as students, we live very fast-paced lives, right? We're constantly going from lecture to lecture, section to section, lab to lab. What else do we have going on? We also have to deal with like other stuff at home, whether it be, I don't know, like things going on with family or just things going on with the friends. Like taking breaks and just really like allowing yourself that like time to just chill and like just have that time for you is such a big thing. Like I think that's so important. I think it's like slept on because everyone's like, oh, you know what? I don't get no sleep. I don't need sleep. This is I'm just gonna keep grinding out this studying and like working on this essay, and that's fun. And just like make it seem like, oh yeah, like that, like, you're so like awesome. But like I don't know, like I don't that kind like it you're gonna burn yourself out, and it's kind of just like just taking time to really just sit back, relax, do a hobby that you enjoy, and really allow yourself that time to just to slow down. Because when you're going like living that kind of like academic life where you're just going from class to class is it can be so taxing on you, especially if you're doing other extracurriculars, and that like just taking breaks are just so like underrated that I feel like we should really like emphasize it more instead of like encouraging this kind of behavior where like you should just keep working, keep studying, join as many orgs as you can, burn yourself out. Like I feel like the kind of like it's more important that we take breaks.
Yeah,
it's
like encompasses everything.
Yeah. I really like that advice. Like taking breaks, take your time. Like honestly, be patient. Like so I think we're going sort of into our advice for future leaders section. But yeah, really just take your time and sort of enjoy like the moment that you're in. And so ideally, I guess right now it's probably like, we're in a pandemic, we're all virtual. It might not be the ideal moment for all of us, but there's a quote from Shane Vidal I really like, and it is
Oh my God.
it is wait, how does it go again? It is
Did you want me? Oh, okay. So basically, the quote was if this is the best that it's gonna be, then I might as well enjoy it as it is. But if this is the worst then it can be, then that means that it can get better. And that it will get better.
Yes, I love that. Oh my gosh. Like especially when you're in this type of position when, things sort of, and ideally too, things will not always go the way that you plan them to go. But if you sort of just look at the picture and sort of enjoy it for what it is, I think that's when you'll probably get the best benefit from sort of this coordinator position. So that's sort of my advice.
Yeah, I definitely agree with like what y'all said. I think like for me, the advice route like I'm gonna take is like if you're thinking about being a leader in the future, like my best advice is to not be like super hard on yourself. Like we said earlier, we don't really prepare for these types of roles. Like we don't expect to be like this involved in an organization. like there's not really a way to gain like these types of skills until you're in the moment. I want to say like not until you're in the moment, but until like you experience it. So most definitely like, don't be too hard on yourself. Like allow yourself to like make these mistakes and learn from them. Like allow yourself time to take care of yourself. Yeah, I don't know how to say it. Like overall, just don't be so difficult on yourself because
Yeah.
no one's prepared to do this. Like no one expects to be in this role.
Yeah.
No one like gains these skills like overnight. It's very much like a learning experience. And if you're being too difficult on yourself, like what really are you gonna get out of it rather than like I failed most of the time? Like you're not really looking at the positives of like, okay, so yeah, I didn't do that well, but like what did I gain from that? Like what can I learn from it? And I think that's all what it is to like as my best advice to be a leader. Like I've done this for a while. Like I don't want to say for a while now, but like I've done this for like 2 years now and it, you know, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've done a lot of things I'm like, well, I could have done them better. And I think that's like just the one thing that I've taken out of it, of this experience. Because if you like internalize like just being difficult on yourself, like how many years down the line, like it's just gonna feel like a major like imposter syndrome. And like that's something I deal with that I to this day. But like I can really like realize like what I'm feeling is like a lot of self-doubt and like my imposter syndrome rather than me like feeling like I don't really have like the skills. Like I know now like why I'm thinking this way. And it's like not because of, you know, it pretty much is because of me, but it's not because of like the work that I've been doing is like going wrong or something. But yeah, hopefully that kind of made sense. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that was
Yeah,
really good, right? You
that's
kind of
really
brought up
good.
something really important, which is like self-doubt. That's such a like that I don't know, that feeling is so strong. And so I kind of wanted to like ask y'all like how do how do y'all deal with like self-doubt? How do you deal with those voices in your head that tells you like what's wrong with you? You failed. It's because you're not enough. It's because of A, B, and C. Like how do you all deal with like that kind of those feelings, those voices in your head that tells you to like give up?
So I personally think of it as, you know, okay, so for me personally, I feel like at times I could be like my sort of worst self-critic. And I think the ideal thing is like, yeah, our like us selves are our worst critics. And so sort of understanding that like it's not something that sort of goes away, and not thinking of it as a negative thing, but you can also think of it sort of as like a positive thing too, and sort of rewinding your brain around it and thinking like, oh, it's this is because like, you know, I'm only thinking these things because I'm trying my best. It's because I want to do like the best I can do. um, and so, yeah, just sort of rewinding my brain a bit. And then also at times too, like trying to, you know, if the voices do come, like sort of like talking back to them in a bit, like, you know, oh, why did you do this, blah, blah, blah. Well, I also did this, blah, 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 which is a positive. And so, you know, sort of also sounds weird. It's like having conversations with yourself. I promise I'm not crazy, but like,
No, it makes sense.
Not crazy. That
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, just I don't know, having those just conversations with yourself, and yeah, that's sort of how I deal with it.
I'm like the same as Ethan. It's taken a lot of work for me to get to where I've been able to like realize like how I'm feeling is like imposter syndrome and like really have a name for it and like recognize it. Um I've been since I've become like a camp coordinator, I've been able to like work with Arlen, our advisor. Another shout out to Arlen.
You better be
But
listening to this.
I've been like I've been working with Arlen to kind of rewire that thinking in my brain of like, imposter syndrome. I don't really belong in this position. Like, how did I get here? And Arlen's done a lot of like exercises and like helped me really reflect on like my experiences and like what I've done for me to feel this way. We actually did a workshop like this last year. It's called TikTok, but it's not like TikTok like the app TikTok, but it's more so like how your tick is like the thing that like you're feeling and like that self-doubt. Like how do you reframe it to make it into a talk that can like actually like benefit you and like help you grow in a sense. So that's like a workshop that we did last year, and I've definitely taken like aspects of that workshop into like my like life and just helping me as like a leader. And like Ethan says, it's something that just like you have to talk yourself through and like recognize, like it's not going to just like disappear overnight, like your imposter syndrome or those feelings of doubt. Like it's still going to be there, and you just have to try your best to like reframe your mindset to think of it as another way. Yeah, I'm very lucky to have Arlen help me with that. And just, yeah, I don't know. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Right? Can you give an example of a TikTok?
Oh, okay. Oh my God, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've talked about this with Arlen because Arlen's been out of office. But like a tick that I kind of like had in my past experiences is like background on me, like I've worked at the Monterey Bay Aquarium for a while. Like I was a teen volunteer. Like I went from really having not a lot of like responsibility in that field to getting paid for like a full-time job for a little bit. So like my biggest tick was like, oh my gosh, like how did I get here? Like I don't have the skill sets to teach students. Like I was just a student. Like how can I teach them? Like how can I support them? Like that was my tick. And then my talk became, okay, yeah, I was a student. Like who knows the students better than a student themselves, right? Like the experiences that I went through can definitely like help them like and benefit them and help them grow like within their space, like within their positions with the Monterey Bay Aquarium's teen programs. And so like that's like an example. I wish I could give one of me being a camp leader, but I think a lot of the stuff I gained from the aquarium have definitely benefit and helped me in like this role that I'm in now today. So yeah, that's like an example.
Yeah,
Hopefully
no,
it
thank
made
you for
sense.
sharing. Yeah, no, it makes sense.
That's
Yeah,
total
thank you for
sense. Yeah.
sharing that. Like, yeah, I think I think a lot of like self doubt just has to come with like I guess at some point we're all just gonna have to face those thoughts because they're not gonna go away. They're gonna
Yeah.
continue
Yeah.
to happen because as like a leader, you're gonna continually be exposed to situations where you're gonna face some doubt, right? So for example, for, common area is like it's like I guess what is it? Organizing an event. It's like, oh, is this event gonna be good? Are people gonna come? That's a really big issue. Um, or is it going to be good enough? Like, am I going to be good enough? And I think that the more that you kind of talk yourself through it, like another like common technique is to kind of imagine your self doubt as like another being or like externalizing it as like a like 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 I don't know um like putting it outside of yourself, like imagining like what like your self doubt would look like as like a person and like having that kind of conversation with them just to help you kind of better visualize and kind of just get you through that process because
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
like self doubt is it causes you to psych yourself out and it causes you to really like back out of like opportunities that could have definitely helped you grow and could have helped you kind of really
Yeah.
grow within a space. And so like I think it's definitely something that we it's something to be worked on, and I feel like it needs a lot more kind of talk on it because you know we've all experienced it and it's not a fun experience to go through, but I guess normalizing it and talking more about how we've all kind of faced it and kind of dealt with it is such a
Yeah.
useful like thing to do or discussion to have.
Sort of talking about like self doubt in the context of being a like student leader as well. Like, I whenever I'm sort of having sort of doubts as a coordinator as well, I also think about how, this whole organization was founded. It's all student organized. It was founded through like students wanting for this to, this organization to exist. And so to already like voluntarily take on this role, it's already something spectacular and amazing. And I applaud like all of us for sort of like just taking on this like these roles as coordinators and, applauding yourself for what you've done already. It's your talk in that sense. Um, so yeah, like I don't know where I'm going with this actually. um,
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think.
You got it.
Yeah, I don't know, just overall, like, again, appreciating like what role sort of you're taking on and what impact you have already just becoming a coordinator. So yeah.
Yeah, Ethan, that was a very like interesting thought you shared, and speaking of like appreciation, like, um, to end off like our first podcast, I kind of wanted to like talk and all this talk about us being like why we became student leaders. Like, what is like to end off like what is one thing y'all are grateful for of just within like the entire process or being a student leader and like being within this position. So Mariah, Ethan, will
Yeah,
go
I
after
can
one
go
of y'all.
first. I'm very thankful and appreciative of the people that I have met who have supported me, who have given me feedback, who I have like the luck to be able to work with. I think like those individuals know better than anyone else like what like we go through as student leaders, and like just their support like is very like appreciative. Like I really um like appreciate the camp coordinators I worked with last year. So Kendra, Katie, Jenna, really appreciate them. I
Ooh.
appreciate both y'all, like Shane and Ethan. Like I appreciate both of you. The Chuck cohort, so the people who run Chale, Cousin, Moja, Engaging Education, Binding, like all of these organizations that I've aligned myself with as my time as student leaders, and the individuals that I've met through those organizations, like I very much like appreciate and like want to give thanks to.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
One thing, or Ethan, you want to go?
Um yeah, I guess I could, well, it's honestly just, yeah, honestly the same as Mariah. Like, I'm really appreciative of the sort of people that really have like pushed me to this point, whether it be like the community, the camp community, like we've been heavily involved with, both you guys being my uh camp co's as well. Like, I couldn't imagine this sort of position without y'all. um and yeah, just overall everyone that's just inspired me to really push on and really take on this position, and also like go through sort of the academic process of college as well. So yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I'm grateful for the people that I've met. So you, Mariah, and Ethan, everyone that like has supported us throughout this process, as well as just like all the things that I've learned as being like the camp coordinator. I've learned a lot while being in this position. And I'm honestly really grateful for it because it's things that I would not have learned if I didn't, you know, be a part, if I didn't uh, choose to run, or if I, went somewhere else. So I'm definitely grateful for those things. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one more thanks
continue.
and appreciation. So hopefully when we upload this, like you can see this really cool cover art that was created for this
Oh
podcast.
yes.
I just want to give a special shout out to Ryan Nachor. Ryan made this really great like drawing for camp, for this camp podcast after we reached out to them. And I just think it looks so great. I love it.
Amazing.
The little animals on it represent the different camp coordinators. Maybe you can figure out who's who. I don't know. But yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Ryan. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this for us.
Thank you, Koya Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank
Oh
you,
my
Koya
Thanks,
God, it's
Ryan.
so,
Oh my
Ryan.
it's so,
god.
it's so, I,
Yeah.
I, thank you. Oh,
So talented, so good. Oh my gosh.
I know, period. If you were mentioned in this podcast, if we gave you a shout out, or if the memories or something that we were talking about involves you, like I think I can say for the three of us, like thank you. And that they really like mean a lot to us, and y'all mean a lot to us, and we appreciate y'all.
I know that gets about everything. Thank you all to
Yeah.
whoever is
Thank you.
listening
Thank
for
you so much.
staying here and listening through our talk. We hope you all learned something about not just us, but just about, yourselves, and like I guess overall just learn something from this. Um We hope you all enjoyed. We hope you all are taking care, and we will see
Yes.
you in the next podcast.
Yes. Thank y'all. All right. See you next time. Bye bye.